Hi, I'm Secretary of State Dave Scanlon, and I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on becoming a new United States citizen. When you become a citizen, you have a lot of rights that go along with that. None are more important than your right to vote. And I certainly hope that you take the opportunity to go to your town clerk or supervisors of the checklist to register to vote at your earliest opportunity. Voting is your voice in our democracy. It's no more or less important than anybody else's vote. And by participating, you help keep our democracy vibrant and active and strong. So I strongly encourage you to participate in that process. This video is designed to help you understand the processes and procedures that you need to take to be able to register to vote. It's a very easy process. It might seem intimidating, but it's not. And I would encourage you at your earliest convenience to visit your town clerk or supervisors of the checklist and register to vote. To help you register to vote, we've put together this great resource. It's a simple pocket guide on how to register to vote. It has a lot of useful information in it, and if you follow this step-by-step process, you won't have any trouble registering to vote.
The day of my swearing-in ceremony as a citizen, I drove straight from Concord to City Hall in Manchester with my freshly minted U.S. citizenship paper to register to vote. I did not even stop for coffee. That's how excited I was of finally being able to cast my vote. And yeah, I'm an immigrant advocate, so the Tokyo TV came to film me. My first vote in the school there. It was so much fun. I was so excited that finally I felt like I was part of society. I worked previously in every single election since I was a student, really, helping the people that had the right to vote cast their vote. And I was unable to cast my own vote and speak with my own voice. And I just felt so empowered. I really felt like finally I was a full part of society. I help people figure out how to vote and how important it is to exercise that vote and not to put your destiny and your family's destinies and your values, not to put those in somebody else's hands.
I used to help the victims of genocide, war, and HIV. And so when I came here, from my experience, Rwanda after genocide, where people was really, really suffering with the help, counseling, with the stress and trauma they had. So when I came here, it was the same thing. So I found the same people who came from the country where I came from, Rwanda, Congo, Burundi, and other countries. They have same issues, and they needed help. So I feel like I should really create an organization that could help them after the resettlement agency. They're done with the resettlement agency. And I saw how much myself was really, I struggled for the first time for someone who's dedicated, who used to help other people. And when I get here, I started getting help from other people, especially with the language barrier, not knowing the system. Was very hard. So from my experience, I feel like I should really start something to help other people like me. So our organization, we have 3 slogans, which is educate, empower, and engage. We educate people through the service that we provide and then empower them with the resource and allow them to go out and give whatever they received. They became independent and be part of the community where they are in. So they lived in a refugee camp for so many years. Now, this is their place where they're going to stay. So they need to feel like this is our town, this is our country, we need to contribute like everybody else. So we provide social services. We also help them with the citizenship. So we have volunteers who help them to prepare for the citizenship, English classes, but we are not like a second star. We just connect them with the volunteer when they can have a 101 English class. We also have a group, women and youth group, where we teach them about civics and different topics. We have been taking youth, high school, middle school, to different places, businesses, office. Like last time we were in a Supreme Court where the youth and women meet with the Chief Justice and other judges and women judges, just to inspiring them and to show them that, you are now in Concord, you are part of this community. They're all refugees, yes, but they came in the country where there was civil war. So they have really wound inside themselves, but people never notice. But us who came from there, myself who speak different languages, who lives in those countries, who experienced those civil war, I know what's going on in them. So we help them with the peace and reconciliation, to live together, forget and forgive. And when we are in a new country, we should really forget and move forward, overcome all those pains and pain we had from back home. Like last time when I took an old man who's, can't remember, but I think 7, something like that, was very happy to vote for the first time. Can you imagine someone who's 75 years old who never vote? So for them to vote, it's like, oh, now this is my country. I can vote for my leader. So this is really good for them. Many refugees who came here, they have trauma and pre-trauma. So when they see themselves register for vote, it really helps them psychologically. It's like, oh, now I can vote. Now I have a voice. So we always go to the houses and send message through the social media like WhatsApp or Facebook or our website. Then we help them to register for those who haven't registered for the first time. And then we take them to poll to vote. Again, as you said, there's a language barrier, but also navigate the system. That's something they never really know. This is a new system for them, for new Americans. And if they see volunteer or anybody from our office, for example, who need to interpret for the people to vote, I think they should really be flexible to let us help them with this process. It's not like we cannot tell people who to vote. We just want them to vote and to feel comfortable, not to feel like they are, discriminated. But we want people to be comfortable going to vote and leave the place very proud that I voted like everybody else.
Registering to vote in New Hampshire is an easy process, and there are several ways you can do it. You can register to vote before an election at your local town hall or city clerk's office.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good, thank you. How can we help you today?
Chciałbym fishing. So I wanted to be registered to be able to vote.
Okay. You live in Concord?
In Concord?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When registering to vote, you must prove you're at least 18 years old or will be on election day. You must also prove that you are a United States citizen and a resident of the town or city you're registering in. To prove your citizenship, you can show the clerk your naturalization papers or your U.S. passport if you have one. To prove your age, you can show the clerks your driver's license, a government-issued photo ID, naturalization papers, or a passport. Any of these documents can be used to prove your identity too. To prove your primary residence address, you can show your photo ID, a lease agreement, or a utility bill. The documents mentioned are just some examples of the proofs you can use when registering to vote. For a full list of acceptable documents, visit sos.nh.gov. Clerks can register voters up to 6 to 13 days before the election, depending on when the supervisors of the checklists have the required meeting. When you register at the clerk's office, the clerk will give you a voter registration form to fill out. On the form, you will fill in your name, primary residence address, also known as your domicile, your place and date of birth, and the date and location of your naturalization. Under party affiliation, you can list Democrat, Republican, or undeclared. Lastly, you will fill in your driver's license number or, if you do not have a license, the last 4 digits of your social security number.
That's everything. It looks like from there. So now I'll just take this to have an opportunity to review.
If you do not have one of the documents required to prove you're a qualified voter with you, you can sign an affidavit. An affidavit is a written statement sworn to or affirmed before an election official, notary public, or justice of the peace. Your clerk will explain the process to you.
That's a nice photo. I'd like to give you this. You'll be added to the checklist for the next election. This here is your polling location. This is where you'll vote on election day.
So ahangaha rero niho uzaja umunsi wo gutora.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Hari ikindi kibazo bafite? No.
All right. Excellent.
Hey.
That's exciting.
Ready to vote?
So I am Kelly Barnaby, and I am the city clerk for Portsmouth. So we basically are the head of undertaking the elections on the city level. We make sure that everything is set up in accordance with the law and that we perform all functions and responsibilities that are outlined in the RSAs, as well as any that are within city ordinances relating to elections. So if someone comes in to register to vote that is a new American, they can certainly bring in an assistant with them, and we would work with them to make sure that they understand exactly what it is that they need to do. If you're doing it through the mail by absentee process, you would have to provide us with a picture ID, and you would have to provide us with proof of your current physical address in the community. You would need to be sure to fill out all the paperwork, and you do have to have that witnessed. And you would fill out the voter registration card as well, and you would send that all back to us, and it would go to the Board of Registrars or the supervisors of the checklist for approval. Someone can vote absentee for a number of reasons. One, if they are absent from the community on the day of the election, if they have religious observances on that day, if they are physically disabled, if they are confined to a penal institution awaiting trial for a misdemeanor. They could also vote absentee if they were working, and working could include childcare and or infirmed adults, with or without compensation. And we would help them along in the process. It's a very open and transparent process, and it is very easy to do. And we take pride and consider this to be everybody's right to register to vote and to vote in the United States.
I think one of the most amazing things we have in this country, certainly along with the community and the vibrant communities that are across a state as well as the country, is the opportunity to cast a vote for someone that you think is going to help you with whatever's important for you in your life. And some places don't have that opportunity. Sometimes women in those places don't have that opportunity. And to be able to register, which is interesting and wonderful, but to also be able to go behind the curtain, so to speak, and make your voice count. You're raising your hand and saying, I think this person will do the best job for myself and my community. I think that's really important. New Hampshire is very different in that because of the size of the state, it's a small state, but it allows people to do what is called retail politics. It means that, especially if you're a presidential candidate, that you have to get out. You have to go places and meet people and answer questions. And not only does it allow the citizens to get a good idea of who the candidate is as a person, they have an opportunity to get to know them and feel like, I know you and I'm voting for a friend, I'm voting for a colleague, I'm voting for someone who cares about me. And that's not an opportunity you have in states that are significantly larger than New Hampshire.
If you miss the deadline for voting before the election, don't worry. you can register to vote at your local polling place on Election Day. The process is the same, except you will register with the supervisors of the checklist rather than your local clerk. On Election Day, you can find your local polling place by entering your town or city of residence and street address on app.sos.nh.gov. Every polling place in New Hampshire must be accessible to people with disabilities and is equipped with an accessible voting system known as One for All. The system includes a tablet with touchscreen and audio settings that voters with disabilities can use to produce a printable ballot.
Election Day registration in New Hampshire is pretty unique. So you get to be able to come in same day of an election, provide verification of photo ID if you have it, and proof of residence, domicile again, and you can sign up same day, take your new registration form over to the check-in table, and receive your ballot right there. As a new American, what you're going to experience is walking into a space that's part of your regular community. You're going to walk into a place that has your neighbors, maybe people you already know, and an opportunity to meet people you haven't met before, because all of us working there are local neighbors. You're going to walk in, you're going to be greeted, first of all. Hi, welcome. Welcome to Ward 4, or whatever ward you're part of. And you're going to be directed over to the registration table, and you'll be greeted by someone like me, or maybe me, and you'll be assisted through the entire process. As a new American, if English isn't your strongest language, please don't let that deter you. Please come in. Bring a friend, bring a family member. They can help translate. And in worst case scenario, if you don't have anybody, we have the opportunity to use a language line, which you're probably familiar with in other things that you've done around the country. So it's pretty easy. They can't make your choices for you on the ballot, but they can translate for you. And it's perfectly acceptable. It happens on a regular basis. For new Americans that still may be a little nervous, I would say don't be. We really, really have a wonderful opportunity in the United States to be able to speak, have your voice heard one ballot at a time. And it's secret. It's a private ballot. Nobody's going to know what you cast your vote as. Everybody there is super friendly. There is nothing at all to be afraid of. It's an easy process. In fact, the registration form is pretty short. Very short, actually. Really just comes down to your name, your address, your birth date, your naturalization date, which is exciting. Please bring all your documentation and be proud. When we encounter new Americans, it is an opportunity to embrace them, to welcome them into the American population, to welcome them into the voting world. It's exciting. And be proud that these people came from somewhere else and didn't have this opportunity, and get excited with me and with them, I hope, to be able to be part of a process that they probably have never gotten to do before.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, so you're here to vote today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, are you already registered to vote?
Absolutely.
All right, do you have your photo ID with you
Yes,
today?
I do.
Perfect, I'm gonna have you come right in here.
Okay, thank you.
When you check in, announce your name and address and show the ballot clerk your photo ID. The clerk will cross off your name and hand you a blank ballot.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Come to vote today.
Okay, can I have your name, your address, and the party?
Absolutely. Victor Allen, 23 Fairview.
Okay, so I have Victor Allen, 23 Fairview Drive. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what party?
Republican.
Okay, do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Great. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. All right.
In the voting booth or at a desk with a privacy screen, vote for the candidates of your choice. Make sure you completely fill in the oval. After you have finished, exit the booth and place your ballot in the ballot counting device, or if you live in a smaller town, into the ballot box. Before leaving the polling place, don't forget to take your I voted sticker.
My name is Ned Gordon, And for the last 30 years, I've been the moderator for the town of Bristol. There's two primary responsibilities for a moderator. One is to preside over the annual town meeting. But the other responsibility, and perhaps the more important one, is to oversee the election process in the town. That includes local elections, state elections, federal elections. We work with a number of people, including our town clerk, the supervisors of the checklist, ballot clerks, local police, to make sure that the elections go efficiently, fairly, and that the results are accurate. It's always the happiest event at our elections when we have a new voter. It could be someone who just reached the age of 18, or it could be a new citizen. Once you become a citizen, you gain certain very precious rights, and one of those precious rights is the right to vote. And it should be exercised because it's not just a right, it's a responsibility as well. So we want new citizens to participate in the process. We had a lady in town in Bristol. She was an immigrant from Greece, and she became a U.S. citizen. And she was scared, petrified to come to the polls because it wasn't something she was familiar with. But she did, and we helped her through the process. And by the time she was leaving, she was beaming with pride. And that really makes our day. New citizens sometimes have difficulty with the ballot, in that the ballot generally is in English, and new citizens sometimes have some difficulty interpreting it themselves, so they may want to bring an interpreter with them. And if they do, that's fine. And an interpreter generally can assist them in the ballot box on, as long as they understand the limitations. And the limitations are that they can assist in them reading the ballot and understanding the ballot, but they're not to influence or direct the voter's vote. If the person comes to us and says, I need assistance, we're going to make sure that they get assistance to the best of our ability to do that. And if they are going to have someone in the booth with them, whether it's a need for an interpreter or in some other cases there are other people who have disabilities, we would just make the person that's in the booth with them take an oath in advance, indicating that they're not going to direct or influence that person's vote. Certainly for new Americans, what I would encourage them to do is to look at the ballot in advance, is become familiar with the candidates before you come to vote. That would make it easier. It makes the process less intimidating. And then when you get there, please, we ask everybody to ask questions. We want them to we want to guide them through the process as best we possibly can so that they'll feel comfortable and they'll want to come back.
Hi, my name is Erin Hennessy. I'm New Hampshire's Deputy Secretary of State. I hope this video has inspired you to go out and register to vote and have your voice heard in our New Hampshire elections. The Secretary of State's office is here to support you every step of the way. Please stop by our office anytime Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We are located in room 204 of the State House at 107 North Main Street in Concord, New Hampshire. You can also call us at 603-271-3242 or email us at elections@sos.nh.gov. If you are more comfortable speaking in a language other than English, we have interpretation services available on the phone. If you feel your voting rights are being violated, notify your local moderator or contact the New Hampshire Attorney General's office at 866-868-3703 or electionlaw@doj.nh.gov. You can also reach out to Ani Malachi, Executive Director of the New Hampshire Commission for Human Rights at 603-271-2767 or humanrights@hrc.nh.gov. Eva Castillo, Director of the New Hampshire Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees at 603-661-2873 or E. Castillo at miracoalition.org, Clement Kagugu, Director of Overcomers NH at 603-856-7507, or Director at overcomersnh.org. Congratulations once again on becoming a citizen. At the New Hampshire Secretary of State's office, we are here to support you in this new chapter of your life. So what are you waiting for? Go register to vote.
Be brave. You did so much to get here. You did so much to become an American citizen. This is easy compared to all of that. You've done so much to get here, so why not take advantage of an opportunity that everyone else has as well? And now you have an opportunity to do that.
And whatever happens in other countries doesn't happen here, and I find that's one of the big problems. People don't trust their process in their own countries, and they think that that's the way that things happen here too, which is totally wrong. Elections here are transparent, they're clear, and they're easy, and they just really try to help people really exercise that right.
So being part of the community is to register to vote and have your voice heard. So when you choose your next leader, which means you're part of the community.